Greetings, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Mind the Mental Monday. Um, it always it's always funny to me. Well, not funny necessarily, but these Mondays, these weeks are going by so fast. I can't believe, in just another couple weeks, like we'll be in March. Like it seemed like the year just started, but it seems like these Mondays get here quicker than I anticipate sometimes. And it's just feels like time is just moving. They say that, that whoever the they is, that this is kind of what happens, when you get older. As you age, time seems to move faster and faster and faster. And I'm kind of feeling that. It kind of feels to me like time is moving very, very quickly. And so, we got to get it together here. Um, but I hope that everybody had a great week last week. It was Valentine's Day this past Friday, and I know that in terms of a monumental holidays like Valentine's Day can actually be triggers for some people who maybe don't have a romantic relationship in their life. Uh, but I want to encourage all of us that every day should be Valentine's Day. Like find love, if you feel like you don't have someone outside of you loving you, um, do your very, very level best to love yourself. Like regardless of what other people think or of you. Love you. Um, know that God loves you. Sometimes it might not seem that way. If we want to get real, sometimes we're just like, I don't know if this feels like I'm being loved, but everything that happens in life happens for a reason. And we hopefully we will use those things that are those struggles that we might have and those things that are when we're having a hard time, hopefully we will use those things to strengthen ourselves. So, let's do our check-in. How are you? First of all, where are you tuning in from? And secondly, how are you? How are you doing tonight? How are you doing mentally on a scale from 1 to 10? Are you doing, if you're a 1, you're doing terrible. A 10, you're doing really, really great. For me personally tonight, I'm honestly probably at like maybe a 7. I've been feeling, I don't know, just kind of blue. Just not fully myself. And these last just in a couple of days, like I've just been tired. Uh and I was able to kind of walk through like what's different. So, when you feel that way, like if you're not quite where you feel like you want to be, check in with yourself and just think back, like think through like what has happened that's maybe different than it had been before. Being at a 7 is not a bad thing. So I'm not at a terrible space, clearly, but I'm not, you know, I don't know. It's something is like something is missing right now, for me, to be honest and transparent. Part of it I know is coming up on the 2-year anniversary of my mother's passing, and I think of her often, but around this time, it's like I'm thinking of her a lot. So I think there's some of that too. I miss her, but I know that she's an angel that's watching over me, and um, she left a lot of fond memories to be thankful for and grateful for, and grateful to have had a mother who and loved all of her children, all of us equally, and poured so much into us. And so that's kind of where I am tonight. But where are you? Tell me where you are on a scale from 1 to 10, Are you okay with where you are? And if not, why aren't you okay? And what would make you okay? And then strive to take the steps necessary to get there. But tonight I want to talk about a topic of not there yet. And some of you might wonder, might think that's kind of an odd title, not there yet. And what do you mean by that? So, one of the times that I was in one of my therapy sessions, I think I've said this before, but we have been kind of working through some of my feelings of being inadequate and or telling myself that I don't have certain skill sets or just different things. We tell ourselves, different things sometimes. We think different things about ourselves. And there are times where yeah, I just feel like inadequate or just feel like um, I'm not where I should be, whether it's at work, or whether it's in ministry, whether it's in my family, whether it's in my finances, like whatever the case might be. I'm not at a level that I think I want to be. So my therapist was telling me about the growth mindset. And in the growth mindset, like instead of saying like you can't do something, you say, I can't do this yet, right? You add the yet at the end because what yet then does is gives the hope that it will happen, right? It will happen eventually. It's just not there yet. And so there are a lot of times, a lot of cases where we might use that expression of I'm not there yet." And I'm going to give a few examples of that. So, for example, forgiveness is a big one, right? Somebody hurt you really, really badly. You desire to forgive that person, but it's like I'm not there yet, right? I'm not ready yet to forgive. And we all know that from a mental health perspective, forgiveness really is not for that person. Forgiveness is for you because when you don't forgive, it means that you're sort of holding on to harboring feelings that are really taking you down. And it means too that that person, whatever they did, is now controlling you in some way. It is taking control of you um, in a way that nothing should have that kind of control over you. It's giving you headaches. It's giving you anxiety. It's you are finding yourself having heart palpitations, and you find yourself ruminating on what they did and how it made you feel, right? And it doesn't give you room to then um ruminate on something that is good for you. So ruminate, for if case you don't know what that means, just means that, when you have a thought and you're thinking something like over and over and over and over again, the same thought is permeating your mind and it's just you just keep thinking on that thing. Well, at some point, there needs to be you're sort of at yet, right? I'm not ready to forgive yet. I'm not ready to relinquish those thoughts yet. I'm not ready. I'm just not ready yet. And so like I said, there are many reasons that people might be at this place of not there yet. So that one is forgiveness. One could be a goal that you want to reach. Like I want, by the end of the year, I want to have done X number of speaking engagements, or I want to have made X number X amount of dollars or whatever the case might be, right? Whatever the goal is, you're not where you want to be with that goal. Um, but it's like you're not there yet. Doesn't mean that you'll never get there, but it just means that you're not there yet and you still have a ways to go or some ways to go, some distance to go to get there. It could be wanting to go to different levels in a relationship that you have. Doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a friendly relationship. It could be a relationship with a child, or your child. It could be a lot of any kind of work relationship, but you want that relationship to, go to a different level, whatever that means for you. Um, but you're not quite there yet. Not quite. Still gonna take a little work to get there. Maybe getting through a heartbreak. Heartbreak is something that's real, and sometimes when you are in a relationship, especially if you've been in a long-term relationship and another person like breaks it off and you didn't see it coming, or you were really, really into that person way more than they were into you. um, that heartbreak is not something that you're going to just kind of get over, right? It's something that will take time, but rather than saying I'm heartbroken, you just say I haven't gotten through my heartbreak yet, right? I'm not there yet, but it doesn't mean I'm never going to get there. So sometimes when we think um negatively about ourselves, whatever that might be, we have to kind of come up with our own yet phrase of, okay, I'm not whatever it is, I'm not blank right now, but it's like, I'm not blank yet, right? And just know that the yet is something that will give you the hope that it can happen. One, it absolutely is possible. And two, it can. Like you can do what you need to do to make it happen. But, so I want to encourage someone who is not there yet, whatever that means for you, to not come down hard on yourself about not being there yet. Everything in life is a process. Everything in life takes time. And so not being there yet, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you don't have the skills needed to get to the place that you're trying to go. It doesn't mean that you will never get there. It just means that in this season, it's either it's not time yet, or it's not really something that you're ready for yet, or um, it just means not yet. It just means wait, right? And so I want to encourage you that when you're in those that sort of mindset of I'm not there yet. I want to get there. I'm not there, but I, I am going to get there eventually. I'm just not there yet. Whenever you're in that mindset, like give yourself some grace, as I always say, give yourself time. If it's something like healing from a heartbreak, well, that takes time, right? If it comes to grief, grieving, getting through grief, a lot of times you don't ever there's with some grief, there's not a yet. There's not a, oh, I'm gonna get over it yet, right? It's just something that on a day-to-day basis you navigate through. But it's not something that will necessarily end. And it's something that will, some of those things are things that we have to learn, learn to live with and learn how to get some coping mechanisms to be able to live through the grief. But But if you're not there yet, and it's someplace that you actually want to get to, you want to get a new skill, you've been working on it and you just haven't mastered it yet, that's okay. If you are in the midst of sort of having a relationship gone wrong or gone rocky, where you really need to, a person has hurt you really badly and you need to forgive that person, but you're not there yet, um, give yourself some grace. It, it's, it's okay to not be there yet. It's okay that you have to sort of go through whatever process you need to go through to grow, into the place that you need to be able to forgive fully, to be able to accomplish that new or learn that new goal, learn that new skill, to reach that goal that you've set for yourself. Whatever the case might be, it's okay to not be there yet, but understand that going from yet to there requires action. And I think that a lot of times we get hung up and stuck on the yet. We get stuck on the not there yet, or as we're in the not there yet, we're sort of sitting in the not there yet, like waiting for something to happen to get us there. But the truth of the matter is, in order to go from yet to there, it requires movement. It requires action on our part, right? And so if we have already set up in our minds that we are going to stay in unforgiveness, if we've already made up in our minds that I've been hurt so bad, I've heard people say this is unforgivable. If we're in that place of unforgivable, then we've already determined that we are not going to get to forgiveness. And so we can't, if sometimes when we say I'm not there yet, what we're really trying to do is really give ourselves permission to kind of stay there. And so while I want us to understand the importance of giving ourselves grace when we have those periods of I'm not there yet, I ain't ready for that yet, I'm not, there's also accountability on our part wherein we can't we can't go from yet to there if we don't intentionally make a move. And sometimes we find ourselves just kind of wanting to sit in our stuff. We want to just kind of sit in whatever mood that we're in. You know, we say that we want to learn this new skill, but we're not putting forth any effort really to learn the skill. And it's just like, oh, I just can't do it. No, it's not that you can't, it's that you won't, right? Those are two different things. Um, and so if you kind of reverse that, and rather than saying, I can't, I haven't mastered the skill yet, but I'm working toward it. You're working toward getting there. You're putting in the effort to get to the other side of yet. But when yet becomes like a habit, when yet becomes almost comfortable, when yet becomes the place where you want to, you feel like you just are going to just sit and sort of wait passively for something to happen, it's not. It's not. Like we have to be intentional to get out of the yet and to take the steps necessary to get to the goal, to get to the skill, to get to forgiveness, right? To get to a new level in a relationship, even if that relationship is with ourselves. Because that's the first relationship that we need to aspire to new levels, right? And this is one of them. One of them is taking on the responsibility that is required to get from I'm not there yet to hey y'all, I'm there. I made it. Victory, I'm here. Um, you know, so we have to just make up in our minds that we don't want to just sort of sit complacently and just passively wait for things to happen. All right. So I hope that this is making sense tonight. So, the growth mindset, it is that it is a mindset. It is a way of thinking, and it is a way of thinking that will allow you to expand your mind and grow through some of those challenges, and some of those experiences that you need to sort of grow through. So it takes a while for things to expand, right? It takes time for growth to happen. It's not going to happen immediately, but it's also not going to happen passively. In order for even as human beings, like when a baby is born, in order for them to grow, they have to do something. They have to like do what they need to do to suckle to get the milk, whether it's through the mom's breast or through a bottle. They got to put in some work to get the nutrients in that they need in order to grow. If they if they don't get nourishment, they're not going to grow. And while it seems passive, right? It seems like somebody is giving them the nutrients that they need. At the same time, they have to also do a part, play a part to help get those nutrients in, right? Um, and so that is when growth happens. Somebody has to do something, whether it's the parent or the child or a combination of both. In order for growth to happen, somebody has to do something. And so you know, um, and so it's important to take on the accountability, take on the responsibility that, hey, if I want to get to where I'm trying to go to achieve the thing that I'm trying to achieve, it's not enough. While I give myself grace to say, hey, I'm not there yet, I'm also um not going to be able to just sit in not there yet and just wait for it to happen. I, I've got to I've got to take on responsibility to make the yet happen, to make it to get myself to the other side of yet. Maybe that's what I should have called this, the other side of yet. I don't know. I might change the title, the other side of yet. I kind of like it. Um, but so it requires intentional action, just like anything else. It requires a determination that while I'm not there yet, I don't want to stay here, right? I don't want to stay in the pitfall that I feel like I'm in right now. I don't want to stay in a position where I feel inadequate. I don't want to stay in a position where I feel I'm not enough, right? And to get to the other side of yet really is not really based. Sometimes we base it on what somebody else does or what somebody else says. Sometimes we don't get to the other side of yet because while we're saying we're not there yet because we are waiting for somebody else's approval. And so if you're not there yet because you are waiting for somebody else to approve of you, to approve whatever steps you're taking, to approve what you're doing, then you're not going to get to the other side of yet. Because you have to know a part of a growth mindset is a mindset that says that my purpose is to please God. that's a part of a growth mindset. A growth mindset says it doesn't matter whether or not somebody else approves of the steps that I need to take to get to the other side of yet. What matters is, do I feel like the steps I'm taking are the right steps for me to arrive at the place where I want to be? Do I approve? Right? We talked about this before. Like, do I approve of me? Right? Do I think the steps I'm taking are great steps to take for me, for what I'm trying to do? Because we can't base whatever we are called to do, whatever we're purposed to do, we can't base it on what everybody else is doing. We can't base it on whatever anybody else is doing. We have to base it on the fact that I need you to say it. I'm one of one, right? You have to say that to yourself. I am one of one. And so my purpose is mine. The purpose that is put in me to do whatever it is that I need to do while I'm on this earth is mine. And so my not being there yet can't be because I am waiting for somebody else, one, to tell me what to do or to approve of what I'm doing. And I think a lot of times many of us will stay stuck and not there yet because we're waiting for somebody else to tell us what to do and how to do it. When the truth of the matter is, nobody else can really tell you how to do and what to do for the purpose that you were designed for, because they're not designed for your purpose. Only you are. And so that feeling, that gut feeling that you have, sometimes it's best not to even share with somebody else, because as soon as somebody else rains on your parade or tells you what that, oh, you shouldn't do that, they try to bust your bubble, you're excited that you're about to take this step and take, and move in a new direction for yourself. And you tell somebody that you respect and you admire, and they say, oh, you shouldn't do that. How do they know? I mean, it's great to have people in your life. It's great to have people who are at the place where you want to go, to mentor you, to help you think through for yourself what will work best for you. But at the end of the day, it is up to you to make that decision. Um, okay, we have a couple of questions on Facebook. And so one question is, dealing with, how do I stop crying when my intellectual knows, but I'm a moody Judy with PTSD? Okay. Um, so I feel like uh in that case, um, again, not being there yet is a process, right? And so if you are actually diagnosed with post-traumatic stress syndrome, then that is a conversation that you should have, with your medical professional, with your mental health professional who is helping you to navigate those tears, because the tears don't come from out of nowhere, right? The tears are coming out of an actual lived experience. It is your lived experience. It is not anybody else's lived experience, but somebody who is trained, who is licensed to help people in those with PTSD. And PTSD is not something that only happens like in severe sort of traumatic, what we might think of severe traumatic situations, like being in the armed forces and being in war, or having been physically abused, and those kinds of things. Sometimes some traumas might play out differently in different people. And so working with a therapist directly, that person can help you navigate what are the root causes of those tears, and also affirm that it's okay to have those tears. um Everybody has some kind of pain that they're dealing with, but your pain is your pain, your sadness is your sadness. And so finding, really understanding yourself and what is causing those tears to happen, what kinds of trauma is causing, what are the root causes of those tears. Then you start dealing with the root causes. Then you start sort of helping to pull through the root of what um what is happening. Um, okay, and somebody said, okay, another question is, what are the wrong steps to avoid to get on the right path? Or I think what you mean is, what are the steps to avoid to get on the right path? I think one of the steps, and it goes on to say, I get sad about downsizing and moving to a nursing home, but want to be an adult. So, one thing to understand is that what you're dealing with is loss. When you have to downsize, you're talking about having to, in a lot of cases, remove things from your life that you have collected over a long period of time. That is loss. When you're talking about going into a nursing home and you're saying you want to be an adult, it's perfectly normal to feel like you don't want to lose your sense of independence. You know, you're talking about losing a certain amount of independence, especially if it's a home, if it's a nursing home and you're not able to sort of just come and go as you please. You're not able to, get yourself to from place to place anymore. It is a real loss, and no one can blame you for being in tears. No one can blame you for crying due to the loss that you're experiencing. I think that there are people who specialize in loss, in grief and loss. And I can point you out to them. Well, not point you out to them. I can provide you with their contact information. When I'm done doing this live, I will go back and look at your comment and provide you with some resources that might be helpful for you as you're going through a time of loss. But when you're having to give up your home, I don't know if it's, a place that you own or a place that you've been renting, but it's your home nonetheless. You're talking about having to give up your home. You're talking about having to give up maybe some of your other material possessions because you're having to move from wherever you are to possibly like a room, which could possibly also be a room that you have to share with somebody else. I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. And in terms of steps to avoid, I think one thing to avoid um, is somehow thinking that something is wrong with you because you are crying and you're sad about what is about to happen. Y- Give give yourself some grace, because anybody who is experiencing any kind of loss might be going through something very similar. And so understand that this is something that you're going to have to navigate. Your loss, like there's many other people that have moved from a home, their home that they've had for many years, into a nursing facility, but your experience is not theirs and their experience is not yours. So own your experience, right? Lean into that this is your lived experience and it hurts. And it's something that is going to take some time to get through. I don't know of anybody who has moved into a nursing facility who necessarily wanted that. Most people I know want to maintain their independence, want to if they've worked years to purchase a home, they want to maintain their home, even if they're renting. If it's their home and it's been their home for a while, they want to maintain it. That is normal. That how you feel is completely normal. So understand that, right? Understand that there's not anything wrong with you. Also, again, understand that it is your lived experience, and you're not at a place yet where you want to accept that this is what is going to happen. And so I would encourage you to work with a grief and loss specialist. And again, I can recommend some to you that might be able to help you, but know that this is not something that you will necessarily get through overnight. This is something that you're going to have to, that's maybe going to take some time for you to get to the other side of yet. Okay. Um, and I will personally be praying with you and and just doing some of those things that that make think about things that can help try to help your mood um without negating the fact that you're sad about what is happening. And so sometimes try to, I don't know what kinds of things might worked for you personally to sort of try to lift your spirit when you're not, when you get in those sad moods, whether it's some kind of music or some kind of aroma or taking, deep breaths or going for, talking to a friend or loved ones. I don't know what that looks like for you, but try your best to do some things that are within your realm, that are within your scope to do something that will lift your spirit. Okay. Um, okay. So, and I'm sorry about what's happening, what's happening with you. And I really pray that you will be able to find um some solace in what you're experiencing. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that, sharing your question and sharing your experience, what you're going through here on this platform, because I know that that is not, it's not always easy for people to do, and so I hope that something that I've said here will be helpful, to you. Okay. Um, and I'm getting something, I think the last question that I saw was what are the wrong steps? And I was saying, what are the steps to avoid to get on the path to the right steps? Okay. Oh, okay. I thought that that was related to the other question. I apologize. So those of you on Facebook, when you have a question, my team lets me know what the questions are, but I can't see them in real time. So I usually end up like later going back and putting something in the comments. And so it wasn't clear to me that this was a separate question. So what what are this? I think the question is what are steps, what are steps to avoid to get on the path to the right steps? And so, like mentioned before, I think a big step to avoid is thinking that your steps to the other side of yet is going to be like somebody else's, or thinking that your steps are not normal, right? Um, you have to sort of personalize what steps you will take to get to the other side of yet, and you also have to be intentional, to take those steps. And nobody can really tell you what steps are right and what steps are wrong, right? There are people that maybe can provide insight, or who might have some kind of expertise where they're able to share with you from personal experience. But again, your experience is yours. And so the only one who will really ultimately be able to determine the right steps to take to get to the other side of yet is you. Is looking at yourself internally, basing it on your life experiences, right? On the knowledge that you've been able to learn, uh to move to the other side. But the biggest step to avoid is a lack of determination to get to the other side of yet. Um so it takes, your own sort of determination that I want to get there, that you have to have a desire to get there to the other side. But you also, once you have that desire to get to the other side, you then also have to be intentional to take the steps necessary to get there. And, you know, although a therapist or maybe a spiritual advisor can help you to sort of think through what steps are right for you, ultimately, it is up to you, to make the decision. It is up to you to choose the steps that will work for you. Um, hopefully that makes hopefully that makes sense. And I hope that you're able to glean from something that I've said, that helps. And if not, inbox me if you have questions that are, that you maybe don't want to share publicly on in the comments, but it's something that you're trying to work through, please feel free to inbox me. Um, and I will do my very best to, if I don't know the answer, to at least provide you with some resources that can be helpful to you. Okay? All right. All right. So that is Mind the Mental Monday for tonight. Not there yet. Remember that in with a growth mindset, rather than telling yourself what you can't do, tell yourself, I'm just not there yet, right? I haven't gotten there yet, but yet gives the hope of the possibility that you will get there. But it takes effort. It takes uh, taking the steps necessary for you to make the moves to the other side of yet. Um, and sometimes it may take getting with a life coach or a therapist or a spiritual advisor to help you think through what would be the best steps for you. But remember, your life and your experience is yours, right? Your purpose on this earth is yours. And there's really not another soul on the earth that can tell you how to get through it. They can help you think through it for yourself, but ultimately, there are decisions that you have to make and that you can make. You might have to say, I can't make them yet, but you can make them, when you get to the other side of yet. All right. So thank you. Please, 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 again, Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. And again, if you have additional questions or additional thoughts that you're not wanting to share in the comments, again, please feel free to just inbox me and I will get your message and I will respond. Okay? All right. Well, this is Mind the Mental Monday for tonight. I hope you have a blessed week and we'll be, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. Y'all know I say it every week. We will be back next Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with Mind the Mental Monday live on Instagram, live on Facebook, and it will be uploaded tonight on my YouTube channel, Benita Weathers 329. Please subscribe if you haven't already. All right. God bless, and I'll see you next week. Bye.